How's it going, guys? Ali Kassira, your real estate champion, here to provide some more knockout information. In my last two videos, I shared phase 1, I shared phase 2, and now we're gonna go over phase 3 of the home selling process and what it entails. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so now we're in phase 3 of the home selling process. We've already determined what we're gonna price it at. We've gotten all the marketing information and all those things up to date, and we've already started showing it. Now we've gotten multiple offers. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna review all the offers, and there's a couple different options we can do. We can just accept one outright, or we can send what's called a seller counter offer. And again, trying to negotiate the price up and negotiate any kind of terms that are gonna be beneficial for you as a seller. You may need to find a replacement property. There may be some other things that you need. Hey, you know what, Ali? I need an additional 14 days after the close of escrow to be able to do so. It's very important to know what kind of market we're in and where the leverage is at, whether that be on the buying side or on the selling side. Now, once we get the offer accepted, the buyer is gonna submit their earnest money deposit, their EMD. Not only once they submit that EMD, the next thing that we're gonna do is provide any and all documentation that's gonna be required by the buyer's lender to make sure that we make this a speedy process. The last thing we wanna do is be waiting for somebody to get approved for their loan. Last but not least, we're gonna make sure that on the MLS, we're gonna change that status from active to pending. Now, the next step in the transaction is reviewing everything, making sure that all the disclosures and any paperwork are signed by both parties, buyer and seller, because that is gonna be something that not only escrow requires, but the lender as well. We're gonna make sure that we communicate with the lender on the status of the buyer's loan, and not only that, on the appraisal. We wanna make sure that as a seller that we're cooperating with the buyer to conduct any kind of inspections. So as I said in my prior videos, as a buyer, you do your home inspection, there may be a roof leak from the initial home inspection, and they may wanna send a couple second and third opinions out there. Us as sellers, we wanna make sure that we're doing our part in making the home accessible so that the buyers can do their due diligence. However, I may add, there is gonna be a specified amount of time on the contract that they have in order to do these. Example being, they have 17 days to have access to the home. We may be in a 30-day escrow, but they have 17 days to conduct any and all inspections. And after that, they will not have access to the home. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is removing the buyer's contingencies. My job as your agent selling your home is to make sure that these buyers remove their contingencies as quick as possible. Do you know why? Because the quicker the buyer removes their contingencies, the quicker their commitment's gonna be. They're not gonna back out of the deal. And if for any reason they remove all 3 of their contingencies and they decided they wanted to back out and no longer purchase the home, guess what? You as a seller are entitled to keep that deposit. Another thing you wanna do is determine when your move-out date's gonna be. Again, there's gonna be some factors and things that we have negotiated before, whether that be an additional 7 or 14 days after the close of escrow to be able to get your stuff out of the home and make that move on to your next destination. Now, the next thing you wanna do as a seller is to make sure that you're setting up the cancellation of all your utilities on the day of the close of escrow. It doesn't mean you have to do it specifically on that day, but you can always call all your service providers, give them a call, let them know, hey, I'm gonna be closing on the 15th, today's the 10th, I'm closing on the 15th. I want you to cancel my electricity. I want you to turn off the water. That gas, please don't charge me no more for it. Last but not least, we wanna make sure that we determine when the buyer is going to conduct their final walkthrough. In my prior videos, I spoke about what a final walkthrough is, so if you have some questions in regards to that, please refer to that video. Now, last but not least, we've gone through the whole process. The buyer has done all their due diligence. Now, the day prior to closing, they wire all their funds over to escrow. In Los Angeles County, the following day after that money is wired over to escrow is when we record with the county. Now, guess what? You're getting paid, Mr. Seller. Last but not least, the thing that we do is we provide the keys to the buyer and you move on with the next chapter in your life. All right, guys, I hope you found this information informative and very helpful. If you did, please share it with a family member, a friend, or even a stranger for that matter. Hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and stay tuned for some more knockout information. Take care, we'll see you soon.